Well, good morning. Once again, I was awake pondering my talk for today for very close to 2 hours before I finally let my feet hit the floor and got out of bed. The title for today's message is Chinese Dragon Family, Western Illuminati. Confusion? Yes, it's not easy to make sense of the dynamics of world politics. Very little is as it appears. Not much of what we've been told is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. A big part of that confusion is the result of differing ideologies of the ruling bloodline families in the East and the West. China has long focused on trade, while Europe has focused on conquest, enslavement of people, and control of resources. The family in China acquired great wealth through trade, requiring payment in gold, and became the creditor for the entire world. The Western Illuminati, on the other hand, yes, the Rothschilds, Rockerfellers et al., were the debtors. For all their world conquest, they had to borrow money from the family that controlled the gold reserves of the world. This money was never repaid to the family. The Illuminati are psychopathic liars. The family, on the other hand, seems to be waking up. What does this mean for us, the people of the world? Hopefully, I can provide a little clarity. All right, I forgot. A letter. There it is. Let's save it. Okay. Yeah, as I said, I've been pondering this before I went to bed. When I woke up, the ambassador and I had a very lengthy conversation after we recorded our video yesterday because I sought clarity. To me, the owner of anything makes the rules for that thing they own. Well, it's not as easy as that. The ambassador did his best to explain it to me. I will do my best to explain it to you, although I'm not going to give you a 100% guarantee that everything that I say is 100% accurate, because I can't. I'm still not 100% clear on everything. Some things for me don't make sense as well. But listening to the ambassador and interacting with the family and having been raised in the Western culture, I do know that I don't trust anything that the mainstream media in the West tells us. They lie. They lie terribly. My wake-up call was 9/11. I talked with somebody, who was it? I don't even remember who it was that I was talking to. Somebody that actually is a U.S. Army Ranger. Who was that person? Anyway, his wake-up call was Waco. This is somebody that was part of the secret special forces in the United States military. And he learned not to trust what they told us in the media and what the government told us following Waco, when he saw what was going on there. And I can't even remember who that was that I had the conversation with. Isn't that awful? But in any case, I've been listening to the ambassador hours and hours and hours, and I've gotten the opportunity to speak with some other people also in the family. The historian, the Red Dragon, of course, and some others. Now, the ambassador doesn't claim that the family in China is totally 100% unified in the vision that he was given, that the Red Dragon was given, and certain other members of the family realize that they can't keep feeding the lie. So at least for 3 years now, they've been starving as much as possible the Illuminati. Because the Illuminati and the game plan of the Western monarchies, ruling bloodline families, especially the Queen of England, These are psychopaths. These are pedophiles. These are people that are just evil, evil, evil. Whether it's the Jesuits or the Zionists that they're playing with, the whole Western cabal is a criminal operation that has, to a far and large extent, enslaved the entire world. They even got their tentacles into China with the Communist Revolution and the control of the Chinese people. And the remnants of that, and the residual of that still exists. It's still there in present-day China. It's not completely been eradicated yet. But there are people in China, in the family, that are awakening. And some of those people in the family come from Europe. The ambassador is not Chinese, as he said in yesterday's video. But he, because of things that he went through in his life, he had an awakening. And he had to look himself in the mirror because he spent time in solitary confinement during a part of his life. I'm not going to go into the detail of that. When he's ready to share that publicly, he will. He has shared a lot of things with me, however. And I have learned to have a level of trust in what he's telling me because he has been willing to make himself vulnerable to me. And as I've made myself vulnerable to him and to the whole world, but he hasn't done it to the whole world yet, as I have. Because if we're going to get out of this thing called human life on planet Earth with any kind of victory for humanity, we're going to have to tell the truth. We're going to have to get beyond all of the lies and all of the misconceptions. And the whole idea of who owns what. China owns the whole world, as measured in our current financial system. Now, as I've said to the ambassador on a number of occasions, even what the Chinese dragon family holds insofar as the gold reserves and silver and platinum and all the bonds and everything else that they hold in their warehouses, all of that came from the people. Because no matter what, if the Anunnaki, who, according to one version of history that has been revealed and we've been told, they needed gold to survive. For some reason, they needed gold, so they enslaved the Atlanteans, embodying them and making them more dense, and they enslaved them to mine the gold. But who provided the effort? The value, again, understand this. This is bedrock understanding for me. The value comes from creativity and labor, period. Without creativity and labor, there is no value. Now, the people that became the ruling bloodlines, I don't care whether it's East or West, did so by enslaving the people and basically stealing the value of the people by making the people believe they were less important than what they actually are, or should I say, we actually are. Our labor, our creativity is what gives value to anything. It's not even gold. It's not even silver or precious metals or oil or any of the other commodities, including human commodities. The human commodity is the only one that has real value, and it is the one that is seen as the least valuable by the ruling bloodlines, East and West. Although we have to allow for a shift, and there are people even in the Western Illuminati, I believe, that are seeing the light, shall we say, and recognizing that it makes no sense to destroy the world, to be in control, and to pretend that you are the gods, little gods. You are the controllers. You have the divine right of kings to rule. I will say this, and this isn't from the family. This is from Ron. Nobody has a divine right to rule. And if anybody does, it's only people that operate, excuse me, based on the prime directive. The prime directive is do no harm. Do not violate the free will of any other. That's the prime directive to me. That's my interpretation. So nobody has the right to rule. Now, the ambassador announced to Dave Schmidt a couple days ago in his 7-minute conversation with Dave that the IMF and the Federal Reserve are now owned by the family. He explained to me yesterday that they've always owned the IMF and the Federal Reserve. That's not new because the creditor is always the owner of what they lend credit to, that always owns the debtor, in essence. Now, when I heard that okay, Dave Schmidt published that they took control of the Fed and the IMF. That's not true. That's not really true. They own it, but they've always owned it. Maybe they've made it clear that we're not going to let you claim bankruptcy and bankrupt the world. We're not going to let you throw the United States and Western Europe and the world into the chaotic situation that would occur if you announced your bankruptcy again. Now, the United States of America has gone bankrupt at least 3 times, if I believe, in their history, if not more. At least 3 times, going back into the 19th century. They had their first bankruptcy actually after the Revolutionary War, and then again after the War of 18. I mean, wars have been the way of the Western Illuminati since the 18th century. War and conquest has been the way of it, probably even going back into the 17th century and even the 16th century. War and conquest, war and conquest, war and conquest. They've destroyed. When they discovered America, not that it wasn't already there, there were people living there. How could they discover it? There were already people there. But they destroyed much of the people's heritage and many of the people, and stole the gold, stole what they saw as valuable, and they traded it with China, and China hoarded it to this day. To this day. That's why China is the creditor. That's why the family, the royal family of China, the emperor, owns the wealth of the world. In effect, they own the world. Now look at China. China built a great wall. That's defense. It's not offense. You don't have any great walls, as far as I know, in Western Europe or the United States for defense. I mean, the United States doesn't even try to protect its own borders. China has tried to protect its borders, as witnessed by that monument, that world monument of the Great Wall of China. China did not go out on conquest, trying to conquest other peoples. It tried to protect Greater China, Tibet, etc. It tried to protect that which it considered its own sovereign borders. But it did not go out trying to take Russia and Siberia away from Russia. It did not send its armies into other parts of the world to claim to defeat the other peoples and take them into control. They're much more subtle, much more long-range thinking, much more patient. Not that the Illuminati hasn't had a certain level of patience, but their patience is nothing compared to the Chinese, from what I understand in this present moment. And so the Chinese do not want to see the world, the Western world, destroyed. They do not want to see their largest trading partner, the United States, relegated to the dustbin of history and to a third world nation, which is what the Illuminati would like to see happen to the United States. That would not be in the best interest of China, who makes its money and holds its power through being able to control the actual things of value as we place value. But again, I place value on humanity. We are the ones that deserve to have our birthright returned to us, our wealth and our value returned to us. And however that happens, and it's a process, it's not going to happen with some miracle. I wish it could, but would we really grow? Would we really learn anything if that happened? If China and the family all of a sudden made everybody a millionaire and gave them all the money, it would destroy the world. It would not liberate humanity, it would destroy humanity. I can see that, and I can agree with that. So anyway, where we stand is we have to be patient in a much shorter duration of patience, and I have a big problem with being patient. I want it yesterday, not even now. I want it yesterday. I wanted it in 2011. There is a process taking place. I'm being told again and again in meditation, trust the process, Ron. It ain't over till it's over. Watch what's happening. Trust that something good is being worked out, that there is a jubilee coming, that there is debt forgiveness coming, that there is peace and prosperity in humanity's future as the prophets foresaw. Yes, it's not easy trusting the process when you're conscious in that process and conscious of the process. But we're not going to achieve anything without consciousness, without awareness, without knowing the truth. Wasn't it Jesus that said, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free"? Indeed, it's the only thing that ever will. So the discernment of spirits, recognizing the spirit of the West and the spirit of the East, is really important at this time. Recognizing that spirituality and politics have always been related, even when we've tried to separate them. Recognize that all spirituality, all religion, has its core element of the divine mandate, the divine principle of do no harm, of love your neighbor. That's the positive spin on do no harm, because those that we love, we don't hurt. Anyway, I may talk more in the next video on the same subject, but for now, I hope I've given you some things to consider that may help you clarify some of the confusion that's going on in understanding the dynamics that are at play in our world. And I thank you for listening. Namaste.